Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. I am your host, Dougie Almeida, coming to you from Simpsonville, South Carolina, where I'm blending in every day. We apologize. We're not going every week. Basically, thank goodness I am on the road a bit and working, and that's a good thing. But we're going to come at you with some shows every other week, once a week, whenever we can do it. So thanks for joining us. Also, a little quick announcement. We will no longer be airing our shows on our Facebook fan page, only the clips. If you want to watch the whole episode, we expect you and would like you. And we're going to force you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And so I appreciate that. If you haven't already, go there now. Just Google it. We got to get more people because we got some ridiculous feed, / semicolon, ass cheek, whatever it is, as our address on YouTube. But go there so we can get our own, obviously, ID, Wake Up Late with Dougie show on YouTube. So we appreciate that. Well, without further ado, I want to announce our guests from the Dope City Comedy Tour. My two good friends from Florida, originally from Florida Comics, Mr. Tim Hanlon and Matt BELLAK. Everybody, what's up, guys? What's up?
What's up, man?
Morning, Dougie.
Good to see you, fellas.
Just got up late today.
Yeah, well, that's part of the show.
I agreed to do this at like 6 p.m. and then you guys move it to 3. I'm like, oh, I got some alarm clock. Come on, man.
That was on me. I had places to be.
Come on. Yeah. All right. Well, we're here. The sun's shining.
Nobody understands that. As a comic, you guys, we have different hours. You know what I mean? We don't have to get up at the crack of dawn and go see clients and all that shit. We just got to get up and eat our Cheerios and think of something funny, right?
I'm nocturnal.
Well, you get up kind of early. Are you an early riser by nature? I will sleep until I have to get up. I'm like a big sleeper.
I'll stay up all night. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I go to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning. So. But I can.
That's my thing. Now. That's my thing. Unfortunately, like when I'm on the West Coast, I still manage money for a living. So when I'm on the West Coast, it's ridiculous. I was in Vegas a couple weeks ago, and I was getting up at 5 just because the market's open. And I get that 3 hours, but so by the end of the afternoon, like 2 o'clock, I'm like, I'm going to go to sleep again. But that is a sign of financial independence when you don't need an alarm clock anymore, or at least freedom.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
No, man, I don't know a lot of people without alarm clocks that aren't very financially secure. It could go either way.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this a little bit, guys. First of all, the Dope City Comedy Tour, real successful. You guys originally with the Fresh Stoned Drunk Tour, that moved on. We won't get into that shit unless you want to. But now you guys, between the two of you, have started the Dope City Comedy Tour. Did you guys wake up one day late and say, hey, we're going to name this? Who named it? Who is the person who can be given
we actually did think about it for a second, but I'm such an idiot, though. Like, I didn't put together dope with heroin or like I just meant dope like it was cool, and then everybody asks us, this is a drug show still. I thought we got away from that, but whatever, it's fun time.
Do you want to tell them what we were going to call it first?
Nope. We were going to call it the freaking awesome great outrageous tour, and if you put that together, kind of funny t-shirt.
FAGGOT
is the funny t-shirt, and woke ass Marty BELLAK over here wouldn't go for it. So, I'm trying to be a little bit more vanilla.
We thought of some wild names, but he just thought.
Oh, we had 20 way better names. We just can't do them.
Not allowed.
Clubs won't put them on the marquee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like we had to down a little bit. What are you gonna do?
That's neat. Yeah, because now have you trademarked the name itself?
See, remember when you were saying the thing about people without alarm clocks? A little bit more some of that Dougie Almeida fiduciary, brain. I don't really care about stuff like that.
I mean, if somebody wants to take it, go for it.
Yeah. I do see a lot of shows now, like the Dope Show or stuff like that, and I'm kind of like, oh shit. There's even a guy doing the Dope Show in Washington, and I saw the poster, and it looks just like Matt. Did you see that?
Yeah,
the Dope Show. The guy looks.
There's a lot of guys
like your brother.
We look a lot. I look a lot like a lot of guys.
Yeah, he's got that. He's got that Matt's starting to have that. I look like I saw your photo in the fucking post office. Look, I
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
A little bit.
and I know the gentleman. And in all due honesty, the Dope Show, which I actually participated in at the Haha Comedy Festival back in 2019. He's had that theme show out for a bit, and I think before.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember his name now. Tyler, I think his name is Tyler. Doing great. Again, it's a theme show. It's a theme show, and I'm sure if you haven't heard, those people know it's basically when comics go on there, do like a 7 to 10 minute set, sober, and then they'll go off and smoke a big old fatty and come back and do another 5 to 7 minutes, all high as hell. And
Now,
that's the
my
theme of that show.
experience is that's every show.
Yeah.
That's the theme. Oh, we're gonna get some comic stone, and then they're gonna try to do comedy. I'm like, that's every night at every club I've ever been to. But
Well, that was the
How
funny
does
part
that-
about that show. Go ahead, Matt.
How does that work out? Like, and the second set is everybody all like, like, because when I smoke weed, I'm not much different.
smoke sweet every.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just
He's high right now.
Yeah.
This is the Wake and Bake with Dougie show.
Yeah,
Well, that,
but I've never seen
That's
the show.
actually-
But are people? Do the comics kind of put it on like, I'm so high now, I don't even know my punchlines, or they just do their jokes again? Like, I don't.
well, yeah. I mean, I did it once,
Like,
and
how
to be
high
honest,
did you have to get? I mean, like, you must have. You're like, oh, I'm gonna
Let's-
smoke a joint between sets.
Yeah.
That's like a tranquilizer on an elephant. What's that gonna do, man?
I know. Well, thanks for the fat guy joke. I appreciate being associated with being an elephant. But but no, and you're right. I mean, that's the thing. Most comics are already high beforehand, right? So I guess they say, please don't smoke before. But like anybody's going to listen to a booker or promoter. But I honestly, when I did it at the Haha Comedy Festival at the NoHo Comedy Festival, the Haha Comedy Club, and I did it, and I went up pretty much sober, and then I walked off stage, and the guy gives you a joint. Now this is a pretty strong high THC content, and you're supposed to smoke at least half of it, if not all of it, and for the most part I smoked most of it, and then of course I'm walking back in, and the comedian Trix, who was there, he's walking out, and he says, "Hey, Doug, you want to smoke this joint with us?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" So I smoked more of that joint. So when I came in, I was fucked up. I mean, I was pretty high and shit. I got kind of gun up there, and I didn't have to act. I was pretty like, I got to look at my notes, and I started getting booed. And I'm like, all right, fuckers, and I just went off my shit. But yeah, you're right.
Honestly,
It's
I actually don't like being high on stage. I used to a lot, like earlier on, but like if I have a show that day, I won't even smoke weed that day until after the set. I don't like I'm just too. I'm not. You're not a shark. You're not like you. I'm so slow. Like everything processes so slow. And I don't like that. I don't like being like that on stage.
Huh. So
I mean, I smoke weed all the time. Like in my normal life, it's fine. If I'm just gonna go fucking hang out or go walk in a park or see a movie, I like to be high. But when you're on stage, I'm not a smart guy, so I can't afford to lose any bandwidth.
Oh, get Adderall out before a show.
yeah.
Adderall?
No.
I get that. Like there's two things. I definitely will not vape. For some reason, if I vape that THC vape, it definitely affects me. Like the crowd reaction stuff, I'm not as smooth and quick. I definitely noticed that, so I'll never do that. And recently, I've changed it as well. I just won't smoke the day of because I just feel a little more lethargic. Especially if you're doing more time. It's one thing if you're doing 15 minutes or so, but if you're doing 40 minutes or an hour, you're like, no, I don't want to get into that. Absolutely.
I noticed it recently because I guess. Well, I've been doing this for like almost 2 years now, where I won't smoke before. And I was hanging out at the club here, the Creek in the Cave in Austin. And I was just hanging out in the patio. I wasn't on a show and having a couple beers. Joints are going around. I'm pretty fucked up. And then some guy dropped off, and the guy running the show was like, "Hey, do you want to just jump up, like go up next and do 10?" And I'm like, "Sure." And yeah, I was pretty fucked up there. And I remember why I stopped doing it because it didn't go great.
I'll say no now if I'm drunk. I won't go on stage. If I get offered a spot, I've had too much drink. I'm like, nah, I'll pass. I don't want to be up there fucking slurring.
I'll still go up there.
Yeah,
you
did the spot. It was bad. Nobody enjoyed it, but
well, that's the thing. I mean, how hard? That's a funny situation there because asking. I was talking to somebody recently about this. Like the ethics, whether you ask for spots when you're on shows, you know what I mean? And generally, you know, if I'm at a club watching, I'm there to support. I will not ask, obviously, for a spot. You know, especially the day of a show. Maybe beforehand. You know, if you guys are in town, say, hey, you know, if you guys have a spot, which I've never been on a Dope City tour show ever in my life, but maybe one of these days.
We got to get. We're sparing you.
We got to get to South Carolina.
Yeah, man. But you know what I mean. But that's like, you know, and we had some incidents here locally where somebody who was working
I feel like
the club.
I asked you when we were in West Palm a little bit ago, and I think you might have already moved or you were on the road.
Yeah, I wasn't around.
You're too busy, Dougie. You're too busy, man. Stars don't line up.
Tough get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. But no, man. But that, you know, where people do that, you know, they'll ask for a spot. We had a situation where somebody who was working at the club would go up to the headliner the night of the show and say, "Hey, you mind if I do a spot?" You know, not a cool move, right?
Not for me. No. If I asked for a spot, which I almost never do, it would only be like as a spot on the show. I won't go to a show anymore and ask for a guest spot. I just rather would hang out and sit in the back.
If the show's already booked, yeah. Like, what do you add? Like, they got it. They don't need you.
No one's looking for comics. That's what's kind of funny to me. Like, I get messages, hey, if you need an opener, I'm like, I never need an opener.
Right.
But you know, shoot your shot. It's fine if we got spots and we're in a town that I don't know a lot of people, and somebody hits us up, then I think there's nothing.
There's nothing wrong with asking for spots like in advance. You see something pops up a month out, and you're like, "Hey, you got any spots?" That's fine. I'm just saying, like, the day of the show, it's already booked. They got it.
Yeah. I think you're just messing with the show for people that are already on the lineup. I don't really care for it.
Yeah, you know, it's like this, and I did mention to some of the local comics. I go, you know, if I'm at a show and they ask, because it's hard to turn down a spot. If somebody asks, unless you're, like you said, unless you're just not in the mood or you just don't feel it or you're not, you know, but you know, you do. And if they say, hey, do 5 minutes, you know, if I do it, I'll do 4, or I'll do, you know, I'll purposely do a minute or 2 less, right? To show respect for those people.
The way we've started doing it now is we're dual headlining now. So we're both pretty much doing 40 at night. There's not a lot of time left, you know. So like guest spots on our show doesn't really work. You know, I like to have somebody open the show and do 10, and then it's just me and Matt from that point on. Like, we were doing shows where we'd have, you know, a host and a feature and a guest spot, and it's fun. But then both of us are cutting our time from 40 to 25. You know, I don't know. And then of course nowadays, sometimes we're doing 3-man. We'll have the opener do 15. For some reason, they just can't say goodnight at 14:55. I don't know what it is, man. 15 turns into 17. I'm like, yeah, it's 15 minutes, bro. The light's been on for 3 minutes. Just say goodnight. It's good. We got it from here. I don't know. So we're not doing the 5-guy shows anymore. You know, maybe in California, when I got a bunch of friends out there, you know, a bunch of good comics that all can really rip it for 7 minutes or whatever. But if it's just a regular show, we're doing one hostess, 12. And then
now, as a co-headline show, do you guys flip flop on who closes and stuff like that?
Yeah, pretty much every show.
Every other show, we just. Yeah, it's funny because you'd think like the coveted spot would be going last. They had like the headlining spot, but the way the show runs with us, we each do about 35, 37. And then you got the opener doing 15. But whoever goes last, half, if not more, of your set is just check drop. So that first headlining spot is the sweet spot. You got a guy doing 15, warms him up, then you got your spot. And then by the time the next guy goes up, now they've already seen almost an hour of comedy. They're getting checks, and that spot sucks. So it's just inevitably.
Exactly. I love when I go to a show like that. A lot of these in South Carolina, you know, they're booked by a lot of, you know, local comics, and like, you know, all right, well, you want to go up? There's two veteran comics there. Like, well, what do you want to go up? You want to go up last or no? I'll go up second to last. That, you know, why the hell would you choose to go up last? You know, especially when you have, let's say, 2 or 3 guest spots going up doing ass eating jokes. You know, next thing you know, you're going up after an hour of comedy, and you're like, oh fuck. And the check drop, like Matt said, is going on.
Some people, it's just an ego thing. They want to go, oh, I'm the headliner. I'm the, whatever. But for us, it doesn't really matter. We're doing the same time. It's just flipping every other night. But it's just the way. And that's the thing too. Well, that's another reason why we stopped so many guest spots. When we would have whichever one of us would have to go last, and there'd already be a host, a couple guest spots, and the other guy was. By the time you're going up, there's like over an hour of comedy. They're checking out, and you got to go and do 40.
Yeah.
And
then the guest spot has like this sweet 7 minutes right in the middle of the show where it's perfect. You're sitting there going, I'm going on in an hour and 10 minutes.
They're taking the good time.
Yeah, exactly. And because a lot of bookers don't realize that the headliner, the shows I book, a lot of headliners say, look, I want to make sure I'm up 35, 45 minutes into the beginning, from the show.
That's exactly
anything
right.
past that.
You get a 10, 12-minute opener, a 20, 25-minute feature, and that's it. Then get them up.
Yeah, exactly. People don't realize how big of how just that slight difference of a few minutes can make, right? And it's like, why don't you why wouldn't you people, especially with my shows, Tavolinos and stuff, they're like, well, why, people keep asking for guest spots. I'm like, look, man, first of all, it's a pro show. You guys have I think you've all done Tavolinos. It's not an easy room. Yeah, it's not an easy room. So it's not, guest spots to me are meant for touring comics who happen to be in town that you love to give, an introduction. Hey, a drop-in kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Or like I said, like if we're in a city and another comic that I've known for 10 years happens to be in that same city and they come hang out, go do 5, go do 7. I enjoy it. I love having friends on the show, but I'm not really looking for it anymore. Also, I think 90 minutes is a cap on a show. After you go more than 90 minutes, I don't care. There's very few comics that can hold the attention.
Well, we see that out here a lot on the locally produced, like a showcase style shows. They'll put 20 comics doing 10 minutes, and everyone runs their lights, and the show ends up going 2.5 hours long. And you're just like, what are you doing? That's not good.
Yeah,
not to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd rather the show be 60 minutes than 2 hours.
Yeah.
Sure,
that's kind of like the casino deal. Casino shows that want to get people back out gambling. Like I was just at LA Comedy Club, and I was doing the feature spot, and the feature spot was 17 minutes. And it's like, oh, that's great. You know what I mean?
And then you
wonder. Yeah, and I fucking ran the light every time. No, but it's glad, and it's anytime. I don't mind. I mean, I saw somebody recently get mad, like, why are they? I'm like even me at first, I go, I wonder they're just giving me less time, and I put it together. I've been doing it long enough. It's a casino, and they do less time. But I did JP's comedy. Right? Yeah, right. It's like did JP's Comedy Club. I got to headline that back in January, and their headliners do 30 minutes because they have like the owner of the club does a spot, and there's some local comics there pretty funny that do 5-7 minute whatever spots. So I don't have no problem doing 30 minutes.
Yeah. Where's that at? Is that in Washington?
No, in Arizona. Was it Gilbert, Arizona? It's a fun room, man. Yeah.
Hey, do you ever seen it go well? I've seen a couple of clubs where the owner opens up and does time. Have you ever seen it go well? Ever?
Well, first of all, I'll say,
the mother should
well, Jim does a good job. Jim Perry, who owns the JP's Comedy Club, he's funny. He does a good job. But yeah, I mean, it's like, listen, I won't mention the club that's in Sarasota, Florida, but
that's what I was thinking.
The owner of the owner of the club do 30 fucking minutes as an MC, and it's like, I mean, I don't know if I'm ever going to get booked there again, but
there's a couple of
that
seems to be the thing.
There's one. Right. There's one in the Dallas area now where the guy owns the club and his wife, and they go up and do a whole. Is
that the Plano one? Sorry. I mean, it's a good club, and it's really funny.
It's two letters.
Excuse me. I want to go out there. I've never been to Austin. I did any shows in Texas besides the World Series of Comedy once at the old how was that comedy club out there in the mall, but that was it. Did the World Series of Comedy there, but
really?
Wouldn't. Yeah,
Texas.
I've had
cool, man. LOL. Did you do San Antonio?
Yeah, that was it. But yeah, I would love to go out there, and I have some friends that I've asked to good word of the Hyenas and some of the clubs that are there. But you guys, Austin's a big comedy scene now.
It is. Yeah, there's four clubs in there.
I was just walking around downtown, and so they got the Vulcan, and then Joe Rogan's is opening up. They're literally 4 or 5 storefronts away from each other. and you go up a block, over a block, you got Creek in the Cave. Those are 3 like major clubs, and then you've got little, like even like East Austin Comedy Club. They've got like
Velveeta Room, Cap City,
Velveeta. I mean, there's
that's 6 legit comedy clubs.
When you're downtown Austin, you could walk to 5, 6 clubs on any given night that are all running shows, and it's popping.
And then several. Then you got Speakeasy, you got Poorhouse. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
You got
a lot of open mics and club shows that the local comics can get time on.
There's no shortage of time here. Yeah.
Too many.
So it is good. The thing is, it's crazy. It's like the Wild West out here because it's still like an infantile scene. Like it's constantly growing, and a lot of people came here, and you have a lot of people that don't necessarily have a lot of experience. I mean, they're 2, 3, 4-year comics, and they're blowing up. They're getting all this stage time. It's good for them, So it's like you're looking at it going like, wow, like you can really come out here and get some.
That's awesome.
Work your way up quickly here. Yeah. It's not like LA or New York where you're dealing with guys that are 20-year comics. I mean, everyone out here is under 10 years. So I mean, a lot of the kids.
A little more of a level playing field. That's awesome. Yeah. Here in Greenville, we have the main thing we have every week. We have a open mic at the Comedy Zone on Thursday weekly, but I think it's one of the best open mics around because number one, they get 40 or 50 people, that audience members that pay $10 to come see it, which is, I tell some of the comics, I go, this is unheard of for the most part, to have this many regular, actually audience members paying to come see you guys. And it's weekly. So it's awesome, but other than that, there's a couple little, other than that, there's a couple little open mics around. There's a good Monday night here at the place called the Coffee Underground. But aside from that, there's, they got a couple other new ones starting.
Any privately produced shows, that are good, because.
Yeah, there's a couple. As a matter of fact, I just got something called the Palmetto Distillery, which is over there in Anderson. I think I just got booked for that for May. May. And I'm actually looking for locations. There's a really dope spot, which is in South Carolina near Charleston. Gentleman books on a Monday, and that place is always jamming on a Monday night. And he brings in some really well-known comics on a Monday. Monday night isn't that hard to book for a headliner. I mean, that was a theory with Tavolino's a Wednesday. You try to catch comics that are working during the weekends. They gladly, make a little less money on a Wednesday just to, fill the date. There's a lot of work. I mean, the difference for me being here than in Florida, it's a lot better because I only have to drive a few hours to get most places. Where in Florida, you fucking, you turn into Magellan. You turn to Magellan to try to go to fucking digs. All right, so let me get into our segment. Let me ask you, fellas. First of all, we'd like to say rest in peace, Mr. Richard Belzer, very well-known comic, obviously, who recently passed away, Munch. And, one of those comics that just had their own style. You know what I mean? I know Tim long enough where that look just kind of looked a little funny there. Like he's not a big fucking Belzer fan or something.
No, he was pouring one out like you do it, but he's holding a LaCroix. It's okay. Pouring one out for Bells, a little honor, but like with a key
I got
LaCroix.
How traditional. Let me ask, since we spoke about Florida, you guys were started in Florida. You guys miss Florida?
I miss it. I got, I have a lot of friends and family down there. I always have fun down in Florida. I do comedy wise. It's not like I don't like the scene, but I'm glad to. It's just weird because that's like where I first started. So like I always look at
there's a soft spot for it.
I love it, but like I do like going out, branching out, growing, seeing, do stuff. Like I don't know if I'd ever want to move back and live there full time for comedy.
I miss the city of Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale was a great city. I loved living in Fort Lauderdale. I love the people there. The comedy scene. Again, if you've been doing it long enough, all right, I'm good. If you're 5 years or under, it's a great scene.
I mean, they got great clubs. It's good. I mean, there's plenty of work between those 3 clubs you can get. There's privately produced shows. There's Billy and Mike. I mean, especially even since I started, the scene is great. It's a great scene. I
go back there a lot, so it's almost like I can't miss it because my family's still there, so I'm there a lot. We work the clubs there regularly, so I'm there a lot. It hasn't got to the point where I'm like, oh, I miss Florida.
There's a slight. Have you gone?
I didn't live there since.
Have you gone back since you moved?
Yeah, and it's funny because every time I go back, I realize how little I like Florida anymore. Like one of the things, like one of the things that, like here in South Carolina, people are courteous. They're kind. They're patient. Every time I get on the highway in Fort Lyons, Florida, it's like everybody's in a fucking rush, mad, crazy drivers, aggressive drivers and shit. And there seems to be traffic no matter what time of day it is, no matter what day it is. When you're on the road in Florida, there's always fucking traffic now.
That was one of the funny things when I moved from Florida the first time. I moved to Los Angeles and realized that everyone in LA is so much nicer than everyone in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. I was like, you just heard that LA was so mean, and it's like, oh no, these people are. I would walk into Walgreens and the cashier would say good morning. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Please. Stalking me, being able to shoplift something. I was like, what's going on here? Everyone was friendly compared to South Florida. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Everyone's on edge.
South Florida for me, and I love it, but there's how do I put it? It feels almost like a time capsule. Like a lot of when I go back, I feel like nothing has changed much,
As far as like the scene, the comedy.
Yeah. Just not like, I guess that's, I don't know. And maybe I just feel the way because that's where I started, but I go back and it's like, you see the same, honestly, there's a lot of new faces now, but yeah, I just feel like it's the same, a lot of the same shows, a lot of the same stuff. The improvs are booking the same fucking 4 people. So it's just like, it's very, time capsule where I like to living in Chicago, living in LA, living now in Austin. At least for me too, it helps me stay creative, stay moving. I can fall into a rut down in Florida pretty easily,
Yeah, agreed. And I got to tell you, the weather-wise, I was there in the summer. I'm like, geez. And it was really nice to not have to worry about your house being blown off or blown away in the summer. Like every summer, you had to fucking worry about a hurricane.
How cold did it get for you in the winter in South Carolina?
2 stories there. First of all, there's a local comic does a joke about snow here in Greenville. It's like it's like a sex life. It doesn't happen often, and when it does, it doesn't last long. Like the first year we lived here during the winter, my mother-in-law was thinking about moving here. She loved it because it's beautiful. Greenville, it's all green. It's a beautiful place. Great downtown, one of the really nice downtown areas. So you're not really just in the boonies, So you got a lot of shit to do. And my mother-in-law was going to move here, and then we had the snow in January of 2021 or 2022. And my mother was like, "Oh no, I can't be around snow." I'm like, "Thank you, Mother Nature." But that was a blessing. But this year, like November, December was like in the 19, 20 degrees. It was fucking cold. It didn't snow, but it was cold. But the big difference is the summer. It gets a little warmer in the summer, not that swamp ass hot humidity. But at night, it's in the 70s. You can have an 80, 90 degree day, but in the night,
that's what we don't have in South Florida. It was like that in LA. It'd be warm in the daytime and then 50 at night. I was like, this is perfect. Yeah. I'm used to it being 84 degrees at night. It just never changed. But that I don't miss.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So I still have.
I like to be able to put a jacket on as a fat guy. Yeah. As a fat guy, I like to be able to put a jacket on, cover everything up,
Now, it's funny you bring that up, Matt. I wasn't going to bring that up. Now, I have noticed a bit of a change in your in your body composition because you're always a thin guy, as I remember. And then I asked him one time, I go, "What's going on with Matt?" I go, "Holy shit, he's kind of, he's getting a little heavier. What's causing this? When you see a guy who's thin, start getting a little bit of a, what is up with you? What's going on, man?"
Well, I'm in my mid-30s now. I'm just getting older. I don't know.
You met Matt, he was 24.
I was 24 when you met me. Yeah.
I've seen your soccer pictures, Dougie. You're doing judo at 125.
Yeah, I think I weighed that when I was in elementary school, but yeah, you're right. It's amazing as you get older because there's things you don't care. Now you have a girl, right? So that's a bit of a difference too.
I mean, look,
I don't cooking going on.
I don't live I don't exercise. I don't really eat great. I mean, I know why it's happening, but when you knew me in my 20s, I mean, I'd drink beer every night. I ate like shit. I was just 20. I couldn't gain a pound. Yeah. Now it's caught up to me. It's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my doctor prescribed me a diet. So I was up to 270 something. I'm at 250 now. So I've lost some weight. I'm gonna probably get down to 220 myself to get in shape. So yeah.
I'm going up, so I'll meet you at 220. Yeah.
I'll save my jeans. So once we get to that point, I'll give you all my old jeans.
Yeah, dude. I'll raid your closet. I'll way into a new wardrobe.
Yeah, there you go. I'll save them for you, like my hand-me-downs. let me ask you guys are on the road a lot. So let me ask you guys, are you still enjoying the road? You've been a few years out there, and just wondering if you're still enjoying the road.
I love it. I love. There's nothing better than like I said. I don't like to wake up, but if I got a 6 a.m. flight, I'm up at 4 a.m. Bags packed. I don't really pack. I just throw my shit in the bag. And like I'm on the plane. I love hitting the road.
You travel a lot. You know how it is. Like the last day of being on, like when you're on the road for a couple of days. On that last day, you're like, fuck, all right, this is a lot. I want to get home. I'm sick of this. Well, then you're home for like 4 days. You're like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I want to go back on the road. You know?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Also, there's a sense of satisfaction when you're out on the road doing good clubs. It's like, oh, this is why we're doing all this, the dumb stuff. I love. We just did San Diego. I don't know if you've been to the new Mic Drop Club out there. It's it's so lay down. It's just so easy. The crowd's fantastic. People come out and it's like this is I can do this every day.
Yeah, I will say that I like the road, excluding a handful of cities. There's some cities I don't really.
San Diego.
San Diego, I like going to. Yeah,
beautiful San Diego.
Yeah.
A nice club.
Well, I think I'm going to get to that question. You're right, but you're right. Like I told somebody, they think, oh, it must be great to like. The worst part about being on the road is like Saturday mornings. You guys tour together, so that's good. But sometimes when you're by yourself and you're in a hotel on a Saturday, just nothing. You're in Oklahoma or some shit. There's nothing to do. Yeah. You're just fucking sitting around. But that's why, like for me, like 2 weeks, I don't like to stretch it past 2 weeks. I'm going to be doing Florida. I'm actually in April. I'm doing some Florida shows, and then from there, I'm doing Bahamas for 2 weeks. So I'm going to be out of town for like 3 weeks. Ooh. And I'm actually, Atlantis is going to be pretty good to be in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
2 weeks in Atlantis. Oh my God, how are you going to get through those Saturday mornings? Oh, it's going to be rough.
I'll tell you this though, it's being away from like everyone misses their own bed. You miss, it's like you miss your routine. Just. That's 3 weeks is a long fucking time, dude. That's a long time to be out there.
Even at the height, like pre-COVID, we would 10 days was a solid run. You go more than 10 days. Yeah. We did one that was 20.
10 days.
It was 20 and it ended on a 24-hour drive. We drove the last day of the tour, we drove from Spokane to LA. Straight through. And that's pushing. That's pushing.
Yeah.
You guys stop and sleep, or what the fuck? What do you do when you're in the car that long? You stop and
rotated.
We
just rotated.
That's when we still had.
We had a band.
We had 3 of us. We still had the retard with us, so we would just mix 3 people driving, going shifts. It wasn't that bad.
Are you guys still?
It was a 24-hour drive, and we stopped at McDonald's at about 6 a.m. and locked the keys in the car.
Oh fuck!
It's like it's never gonna end. It's never gonna end.
That sucked.
Yeah. Those are the things
that you're not going for the show. Like the tour is done. We're just getting home. Oh, that was rough. That was a rough drive.
The coming home part's definitely rough. You know what I mean? Speaking, of the retard, as you mentioned, are you guys still on talking terms? I mean, you guys.
Not really. I shouldn't be a dick and say that. But I don't know. No, we haven't talked in a while. We just kind of split. There was a little bit of. Right when we split, there's a little bit of fucking chirping, but we just leave him alone. He does his own thing. We do our thing, whatever.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, Tim knows my history with that particular person wasn't that strong, especially after the Jay Risk room.
I don't know one person that likes that guy. I'll just say that. All right. So,
I mean,
one guy.
I just had somebody. I had somebody come up to me recently and ask me. Within the last month or two, asked me about him. I'm like, whatever. I didn't say anything. He's like, why does that guy think I want to hear his advice? I'm like, I just started. I'm like, I know what I mean.
Were you telling Jimmy how to do it?
Oh my God, dude. The worst part was I did it.
2 weeks. I've been doing it for 30 years. You tell me how to do it.
And Tim will remember this. The old Fort Lauderdale Comedy Club. And Tim, like when we were in the Florida scene, Tim and I were more of the comics who were working, and we'd see a comic who was working hard, and working at it. I remember one time I sat back and gave him some advice. Like, hey man, this and that. And Tim was there that night too, and we're giving him advice. And then I spent time trying to, I like the kid. I was like, hey, he's trying, he's working hard. And then when the minute he had a fucking chance, he fucking turned on me like a snake. I'm like, what a fucking cunt. It's one thing if just people don't get along. Like me and Fat Chops, we don't like each other. I mean, I almost got to the point where I wanted to strangle that big fat fuck. But you know what I mean? For some of the things he did. But at the same time, that's there. But
it's a big net to get around.
Me a couple of friends. We're playing Red Rover.
Have to get one of those tree climbing fucking chains. Yeah, but well, that's good. Let's move on anyway. It's funny. What are some of the most? Let me ask you this. I'll go back to this question. What was one of the? What is what do you mention San Diego? What's some of your favorite states to perform in, and maybe without mentioning the state that's the least favorite, or maybe why it was the least favorite state?
I'll just tell you right now, my least favorite, Syracuse Funny Bone.
Syracuse Funny Bone,
and I don't like that right now.
Every time.
Yeah.
I mean, the shows go okay, but it's a shithole. The crowd is dumb as fuck.
It's not even like, not even like mad at the bookers or the owners or anything. It's just the crowd that comes out. It's not even like we went there once and had a sour tea. We did it, what, fucking 6 times?
We've done a lot, yeah.
Every time.
We keep going back. Maybe it's us.
I don't know. Maybe, tea.
I don't know. It's just, it doesn't feel fun. It's like, this is, it's not a low point because it's an A club. And then you go do it and you're like, this is not great. It's not rewarding at all.
But there's honestly, most, I love the Midwest. I love, fucking Omaha is amazing.
I'll tell you what, Texas is great.
Des Moines is great. Texas is great.
Which I would never have thought.
Dude, Raleigh is one of my favorites in the whole country. Raleigh is great.
It's weird though, because like we were talking about this. Next week we're doing Tempe and Phoenix. They're 20 miles apart from each other. Tempe is awesome every time we go there, and Phoenix kind of sucks every time we go there.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is that? It feels like it's the same people. I don't know.
40 minutes
weird,
apart,
man.
Yeah.
And then like same thing in Florida. Yeah. You have the Orlando Improv. It's one of my favorite clubs in the country. And then you have the Tampa Improv. It's never fun. I don't know. It's wild.
Well, I've said this on record. Tampa's a shithole.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about Tampa. But yeah, which to me is interesting. What's interesting is like you mentioned that like Funny Bone, one of the top clubs in the country, chain, etc. But Syracuse, I've done Utica, whatever it was, recently in December, a club called Fat Cats, and the crowd was, So is it when you have a great club like that to book, and then like you mentioned, Tim, you still go back, like what would it take to not go back? Like, sometimes you've had those crowds like that where you just, every time you go there, it's like, because to me, the benefit of doing comedy is just that feedback, right? The feeling you get when you're on stage. That's the reason we do it, that great feeling. Mm-hmm. But if the crowd is not really, but if the crowd isn't doing it, what would keep you from wanting to go back?
Well, I'll tell you this much. I would never book Syracuse on like a one-off. Like we usually lump it in. Like we'll go up to the Northeast. We'll do Albany, Syracuse, Hartford. We'll try to get a spot in the city. We could try to link it with Atlantic City. So we'll go up and do a run in the Northeast, and it's part of it. I would never just go to Syracuse and home. I would never.
Yeah.
There was a place we did in Philly. There was a place we did in Philly that we're like, we're not doing this place again.
Well, that was, fuck
that. That was, yeah, it was, yeah.
But it wasn't like a club. This wasn't a club. It was like they had a venue.
Kind of like Tavolino's.
It was like a business.
It was comparable to Tavolino's.
Right. They did it like upstairs, and it was just
the showroom in a venue, in a place.
I remember getting paid from that. They packed it out, right? We had kind of like a handshake deal. Hey, we'll see what ticket sales are. We'll take care of you, kind of. And we're like, whatever. We're
always a good way to do business.
This is when we were very young.
I'll leave it up to you guys.
So we do 2 shows. It was a Friday night, and this guy, the room probably sat 60 people, and he sold them both out. Selling $20 tickets. He's upgrading people, and they had like these craft cocktails. The guy owns the place. He's making buku bucks. So then he's like, all right, I got this like private party DJ thing. You got to clear out and meet me downstairs. And then like I had to like meet him in the alley like an hour later behind the place to get paid. And he pulls a wad of cash, and he has to peel through $2,100 bills to get to the 320s that were in there. He feels like he hands me $60. He goes, "Here you guys go." And
What
I'm
the
like,
fuck?
"What the fuck, dude?" I was like, "What?" There's like, oh, dude, like literally $60 for your hand. So these guys, so I went in the alley. So these guys are like waiting on the street, and I walk back to them, and they're like, "What'd we get?" I'm like, "Here's 20 for you. Here's 20 for you."
Maybe that's why. I knew there was something about that place.
We got an Uber and a cheesesteak, and we were done. That was it, dude.
Fucking unbelievable. That you know, the door brought in $2,200, $2,400, and they, oh my god.
Bro, the guy had a wad of cash. I'm telling you, like he was peeling back hundreds, and I'm like, "Oh." After he pulled back a couple hundreds, I'm like, "Oh shit, we're gonna make a lot of money." Like I thought he was gonna give me a stack, and he's like, "There's a couple 20s." I was like, "What the fuck?"
All right, we're good there, man.
That's fucking
no, we
nuts.
went back once.
We did go back. We went back, but we had a different deal. We're like, all right, we're gonna get paid this.
We took a guarantee the next time. So I'm like, "Dude, you gotta."
Yeah, I'd hope so.
And it wasn't great. But at least we had some. At least we knew what we were gonna get. But then
that kind of reminds me one time back in the old days of the New York Comedy Club, we had a rock and roll comedy show, and it was me, Perry Sack, and Lenny Travis, Wise Guys Comedy, and we did a show there with the band, and it didn't bring that many people, so I wanted to pay the band. I felt bad because they lugged all the equipment and shit, so I gave those guys $20 each. It was a horrible, like, even for the show. And then it was me, Lenny, and Perry, and I gave them like a couple bucks each. So it's really left. Yeah. And then Lenny looks at me and thinks of that Creed song. He paid us only $1.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So, what was let me ask you guys, what is one of your most memorable moments on stage?
For me, a fun one was in Cleveland. We're on stage, the place is packed, and the club was worried. We had by his definition, we had a really urban crowd, and we're a bunch of whiteys, and he didn't think the show was going to go great or something. So they hired like local PD cops to like be security in the fucking showroom. Like, okay, whatever.
Like real Cleveland police officer.
Yeah, like CPD, dude. So I'm on stage, and there's a woman in the front row, black lady, middle age. She's just talking to her friend. Like there's not a show. She's front row. Like there's not a show happening. She's like, "Oh, we gotta go to Susan's house next Saturday." And I'm like, so I'm like,
"You're not gonna say nothing."
I was like, "Take it easy, please." I'm like that. And then there's like a woman, maybe late 20s, white girl, sitting behind her and shushes her. She goes, "Shh." Ooh. And black lady didn't like that. Turns around. She's like, "Who the fuck shushing me?" Starts yelling at her. She's like, "You just do you. I'll do me. Why don't you shut the fuck up? You do you. Don't worry about me." And I'm just like, "All right, everyone just do themselves. Everyone take it easy. Like, relax." And then the cop who's like security comes over, and he's like tapping on the shoulder. He's like, "Ma'am, you gotta be quiet." He looks at me. He's like, "You want her out?" I'm like, "Nah, she's fine. Just take it easy. You can go." So he then moves to the side of the stage. Now, the side of the stage, there's a black curtain behind. Like the whole back wall is a curtain. This guy thought there was like a wall behind the curtain, but it literally just is curtaining off like a storage area. So he goes to the side.
But this is an improv too, so it looks like that's a wall.
Cleveland Improv, yeah. So he goes like this to try to like he wants to be by the stage to keep an eye on everyone, and he goes to lean back on what he thinks is a wall behind this curtain, and just disappears. Just disappears. But I don't see it because it's over to my right. So I'm on stage. I'm like, "All right, everyone's cool. All right." Anyway, so I was at the mall the other day. I'm like setting something up. I guess this guy falls. The whole place just explodes laughter. I mean, people are standing up. They're throwing napkins in the air. I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" Because I didn't even say anything funny. I'm like, "What is going on?" And I turn over and I just see this guy's feet like kicking like the Wicked Witch. Yeah, and then I just started. I'm like, fucking cops, huh? Fuck the cops. And then they're like, "Whoa!" And then
He got up. He was all disheveled.
So then it all calms down, and I had to then proceed to try to do 15 minutes of comedy, and nobody gave a fuck after that.
Yeah, how you going to compete with that shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unfucking believable.
Yeah.
We had one in. I love the Hyenas clubs. We did the Hyenas regularly. Where were we at? Fort Worth.
That's Fort Worth. I know what
Fort Worth.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where I don't really like drunk people anymore. Like they're not fun to me. So I'm doing this. I guess I was closing out. I'm sure I was closing out. And there's a lady, front and center table, and she's basically asleep my whole set. I don't know. I think I went on last. I don't know how much of the show
you were closing out, yeah.
So she's asleep through my whole set, and I said something about Florida. I don't know, and that triggered her. She wakes up
from Miami.
Was she from Miami? Of course. And she wakes up. She was like, I feel like she was out cold in the front row. She's like hunched over, and her boyfriend's watching the show and enjoying it. So I start talking to them, and then she reaches over. It was definitely the end of the show because there was a plate on the table next to her, and the people had left because it's the end of the show. She reaches over and she grabs like the chicken wing off of their plate and just starts chowing on it in the front row. And I'm talking to her, and I look down and she's eating, and I see that the plates. I'm like, did she grab that? And everyone around, like you didn't see the cop fall. Everyone had seen her do this. Everyone around her. I'm like, are you eating other people's food? Like, it was so animalistic to me. And she's proud of it. And then there was another table of food over there. She crawls across the stage and grabs that food and offers it. I wanted to kick. I was so mad. Sticks. I was so mad. Like, it wasn't fun anymore. I should have had a little bit more fun with it. And then the funny thing is, the manager there, his name's Eric. I see him. He's in the showroom, and I'm looking at him like, "What more does it take, Eric? Like, what are we gonna wait for?" She's crawling on the stage, grabbing food, and then offering it to people around her. That was just my theory.
Did you have that on tape? Did you have a video of that shit? Yeah. Did I remember seeing? Okay, I thought I remember seeing that.
I was a little bit torn on that. I didn't want to really post it because I don't like glamorizing that shit or whatever, but I felt like it made her look stupid enough.
I think my theory of why she didn't get thrown out was because she was pretty hot.
It was the end of the show.
Yeah.
So.
But she was like a hot girl. Like if you're hot, you can get away with shit.
You lose a lot of points with me when you're like that. Really. I mean, she had blonde hair, probably big tits or whatever, but it was just like.
Yeah, they can get away. In the corporate world, there's a saying called "sales cover multiple of sins," and if you're a producer and you're making money, you can get away with a lot of shit. And I think if you're hot and beautiful, that you get away with, people will tolerate that shit. How many guys they're in relationships that should be over, but the pussy's so good they just can't leave.
Everybody.
Every guy I've ever met.
She was maybe the worst crowd member I've ever had. Yeah, she sucked.
That's fucking great. Well, the last question of let me ask you guys: artificial intelligence, trust it? End of the world, the future.
I couldn't be more against it. I hate it. Don't like it. I know it's supposed to make certain things better and easier, but I think it's just gonna.
I mean, is there a pro to it? Why do you need it?
I don't need it. We don't need it. I think it's awful. No, we don't. I mean, I'm not like a conspiracy theory guy, but it's Skynet. It's gonna.
The thing I don't like about it, like we just did Palm Beach, and Chuck came in from Applause Break, came and did this thing with us where he had AI. Huh?
I saw you guys.
He had an AI interview with us, and it was like not that far off from just talking to somebody. So I'm like, if it's doing that already, it's going to start writing movie scripts. It's going to start writing songs, and it's like, and the problem with that is it's going to gear itself to the things that people want. So it's going to be like TikTok, but in the real world. And it's like people are going to hear a song that was written by a machine that knows to go verse, chorus, verse, bridge, verse, chorus, verse, and have the same beat, the same tempo, and the same chord progression. Everything's going to sound the same. And every article that you read is going to sound the same. And every fucking movie script is going to be the same. And it's going to show you how easy it is to just get over on people. Like you see humans doing that. You see TV shows that I've seen this show before. You see Ghostbusters 9 and fucking the car crash movie part 17. But there's never going to be a human involved in it. Yeah. And I don't think it's that hard to teach artificial intelligence to write a dumb article, especially about the news.
Yeah,
it's all made up.
I agree. I think there's a lot more risk than there is reward to that point. And they already had the guy with the one company that said it became sentient. Like for Google, he realized that it actually started, thinking out loud and actually questioning. And what was the thing recently that they came out? The one guy was talking to, and he was already like telling the guy he needs to leave his wife. It was this artificial intelligence was telling one of the creators, "You need to leave your wife. You got to get there." It's like, so I think you're right. I think it's definitely
checking her emails and her Facebook and shit.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, fucking ridiculous.
they said there's some practical things of it, like it can do like tedious, like a you could make it a script and it can go through like tedious things and do tasks that humans don't want to do and yada yada yada. But to use it to create things like art or
I mean, that's definitely the way it's going to go. Whether it's art or music or scripts, it's going to go to creation. It's going to go to sales. It's going to go to understanding the stock markets. And it's I don't know, man. I don't like it.
Well, we already had that in our business, robo managers. And you put it into it's all based on, algorithms of the markets and stuff they buy. And so you're already seeing that effect, and the markets sell off. There's certain couple things happen. Next thing you know, the market has a major sell off because, the robots read something in and they all started automatically selling everything, All right.
Well, it's like with the Tesla, it knows to move out of the way of this or that, but it's not processing really what this or that is. You know what I mean? And that's just gonna, or like you happen to say something while you're holding your phone, like, oh, that's an ugly ceiling fan, and then you get 15 fucking ads for ceiling fans on your phone. It's not understanding the emotion behind what you're saying. It's just taking it as value.
AI, they're the new migrant workers. They're taking our jobs. We don't like
it. Yeah, it's definitely dangerous. All right, let's get through this. Our segment, Did You Hear? Here's some stories. And because we're all Florida guys originally, I got some Florida stuff. And Florida on Bob Levy, Tim on Bob Levy's situation was always talking about Florida man a bit. But first story, wrong way driver crashes, blames oncoming cars for being in her way. That's what happens when you have a 20-year-old Florida chick who, when she was arrested, was like, why are you doing this? Well, you almost killed somebody, stupid. But reminds me of that old joke, right? I'm driving home. There's a lot of traffic. Tell me about it. Guy's in the wrong fucking lane. Again, no.
Florida's.
You don't like my driving? Stay off the sidewalk, right? You know what they say?
I don't know. Florida drivers are absolutely. Like, we're talking about, do you miss Florida? I don't miss the driving in Florida at all.
No,
absolutely.
You know what's funny? Every city says they have the worst drivers and the worst traffic.
No, Florida hasn't.
It's like, oh, it gets congested here at 5:30. Yeah, that's every fucking drive through Florida for a little bit. Drive through Hialeah. They're just making their own shit up.
Oh, yeah, exactly. There's no adherence.
Get in the cab from the Miami airport and see what happens. It's like going through the Lion Country Safari.
Our next story, Florida could ban dogs sticking their heads out of a car window.
Is that real?
I like that. I hate seeing a dog stick their head out the window. It fucking drives me nuts. I think they should be allowed to do it, but I get so nervous when I see that. I'm like, do you have that thing buckled in, or what's going on?
So what? It's like a ticketed thing. You can get a ticket for that.
Well, I don't know what the actual penalty may be, but they're like, I had a Jack Russell, and I was like all dogs, they love sticking their head out the fucking window. But I would always be nervous, especially the Jack. He'd see something jump out the fucking window at 40, 50 miles an hour. I think that's what they're trying to protect, as opposed to just all that.
And it stuck with me. I saw a dog jump out there. I don't know if he was escaping or what. It was a big dog, and he jumped out the window of the car while the car was driving. He like helicopter and spun around. It was okay. He got up. It was fine. But it traumatized me. So now every time I see a dog, I'm like, no, roll that window up.
There's a lot of dogs.
Or give him, let him get the head out, but don't put the window all the way down.
I think it should be mandatory. See how crowded these pounds are, the fucking humane societies? There's too many dogs. Let a couple jump out.
Or I see a dog in the back of a pickup truck without a leash on it. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Yeah, I'm sure your dog's smart enough to know that you're going to make a left turn in fucking 2 blocks, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I was amazed by that myself. Yeah, and and now you mentioned about artificial intelligence. I like one of those things on Facebook that showed it's this dog's birthday. They found this dog after being in the pound. I'm like, oh, that's heart. Now I keep getting these things. Oh, my dog was put to sleep. I'm like, fuck, I can't take this shit anymore. Ridiculous. Another Florida story. Florida medics suspended after dead patient found to be breathing. I'm not dead. I'm not dead.
Was it Friday at 5? They wanted to go home. They're like, call it.
What the fuck?
Call it.
They were heading to a Dope City comedy show.
Yeah, you got to get out of there.
Yeah. Fuck out of here. My friend's going to do a guest spot.
Yeah. So who made the call that he was dead? It has to be a doctor, right? That says that?
No, it was the medics. Like, medics in Clearwater, Florida. Paramedics.
Oh
yeah, two paramedics. Two paramedics have been suspended after a man they pronounced dead was found to be breathing. Clearwater, Florida.
It said become a paramedic in 4 months with 4 months training. I was like, I don't think that's enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's train those guys a little bit longer. These guys had the 4-month course, and they're like, "There's nothing we can do."
Well, dude, that whole thing. Listen, that whole thing about equity now. The big thing about equality versus equity. It's a big difference. A friend of mine who's in the business of airlines. He's like, they have these air traffic controllers now. They have a lot of these accidents occurring, but they to make it easier, less stringent qualifications to become an air traffic controller, and that's why you're seeing a lot of these fuck ups. I posted something a while ago. Hey, how great will it be if you're all for equity, but then next thing you know, you're on about to take off from an airplane and it crashes into another one when it's fucking trying to land. Are you still going to be happy about equity that somebody didn't have to go through the natural progression of being?
The other day we had a woman pilot. I was freaking out.
Oh my god,
I was like, let me off this goddamn plane.
Terrified. Women felt like that too. They're like, whoa. Who's going to take care of us? We just want to be held. Horrified.
How misogynistic is of you?
Right.
Yeah, I listen. There's an old saying, like there's three people that you want to have gray hair: your pilot, your surgeon, and your fucking money manager. That was one of the things we always used to say.
Right.
But yeah, I mean but that's the thing, listen, I want everybody to have opportunity, you know what I'm saying? But fuck, you watch this shit in the news about these, taking honor society away because the kids who aren't getting it, they're just boo woo hoo, they're upset. But now you're taking away the ability to fucking be better. They're like, people deserve, to be fucking, like in our business, comedy. If you're fucking funny and you deserve the gig. You know what I mean? You don't want to give it to just somebody. I just want to give this person a chance.
The last thing that matters in comedy anymore, buddy.
Yeah, right.
Fucking like that anymore.
Our next door, NASA confirms half-a-ton meteorite crashed in South Texas. I don't know if you guys felt it when you were there. They actually found it.
I saw it.
A doorbell video of it.
Yeah, birds flying and shit.
No, how far is that from us? It's far enough. But honestly, like nothing really happened. I guess houses within like a certain radius felt like
did it hit an open field?
But yeah,
what did it hit?
Yeah, it landed pretty much an open field. They found this thing. It looks like this fucking big fucking rock. And the weird part is it broke up as it entered the atmosphere. So they found part of it in Texas, and they found other parts of it in Paris and in Europe. Like, wow, that's a pretty fucking spread out fucking.
What size was the rock that hit here? Like a basketball?
Probably a little bigger, something like that. Think about that size, big, elongated.
There's a video of it coming like shooting across the sky. There's a lot of videos, and dude, the thing had a fucking tail. Like it was huge. It was bright.
They said before it broke up, it was about 1,000 pounds. They said. About the size. Yeah, it was pretty. It was then it broke apart.
We can't see that stuff coming.
Yeah, they knew it was coming.
They knew it was coming. Yeah. I didn't hear no warnings.
Well, they didn't have one on that. Matter of fact, the last thing they did, I don't know if you guys saw that thing about a few months ago when they tried that DART program when they crashed a refrigerator size component of a satellite into a moving asteroid, and NASA noted that it actually affected the course of this. And my friend's like,
really?
"Oh, we're gonna." Yeah, so my friend's like, how's that going to stop a big meteor? I go, listen, these NASA scientists will know if this much weight, the weight of a refrigerator, moved the course of this size. Now they just got to equate it out and determine. Now they can make calculations and say, well, if we really need to move something that's really a fucking earth ender, if we're going to hit it with a nuclear blast, how much can it fucking hit if you send out some sort of major fucking thing on there? So, interesting. Next story, a bizarre study says people can live on an asteroid. It's actually a brilliant idea. I guess it'd be hard to get your mail.
Airbnb.
Exactly.
How can you live on an asteroid?
It's got no atmosphere.
Scientists say it's possible. I guess you wouldn't age that much because you're traveling pretty fast. And
true.
I mean, so much. Age? I mean, I don't. Well, the faster you travel, the less
you're not a smart guy. If you're traveling fast, you don't age.
Physics.
Well, one of the most recent things they show was that those two brothers that were twins. One of the guys was in the space station, and he had a twin brother. When he came back after being up there for a year or two, he aged. He looked different. He was completely different than the guy who was on Earth. because it actually it's Einstein's theory, you know, relativity and shit. But yeah. So listen, if you don't want to get heavy, Matt, and you don't want to age, just get on a fucking asteroid, and you'll keep that girlish figure of yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, you can't really get a fast food fucking restaurant. Can't eat at fast food restaurants
No.
when you're living on an asteroid.
They got those astronaut fucking
Every
burger
restaurant on
things.
asteroids is a fast food restaurant.
That's the next
Oh,
best
it's
place.
fast. I get it.
And whether an asteroid hits us or not, is this a sign of end of times? Lightning strikes Brazil's iconic statue of Christ the Redeemer. Here's some photos of it. I
What?
mean, yeah, look at. I mean, there you go.
Yeah. I feel like that's probably
the Antichrist is born. I said it's been hit a few times. This one didn't damage it. A few years ago, it hit it, and Christ's thumb broke off. So I guess he's not going to get any hitchhike any rides out of Brazil.
He needs that film.
Yeah.
They changed the color of it.
Are people making like a big thing out of this? Like it's going to be the end of
the Mayan calendar.
Well, listen, we've already talked about. Yeah, listen, there was a questionable election in Brazil recently. That might be somebody's going to probably bring that shit up. But nevertheless, you know, we talked about artificial intelligence. We talked about what's happening in Ukraine and everything. You know, what the fucking China's making moves and shit. I mean, some people think we're near the end. And like, in other words, you know, we're at that point. I mean,
I will say that this is, I mean, like everything kind of does suck now.
Everything sucks.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everything sucks.
What's good? Nothing's good.
No, everything's shit.
Oh, I'm always like, remember when this used to work? You'd go somewhere and do something, and now it's like
COVID fucked a lot of things up. I mean, go to like any restaurants, go to any service. Everything sucks now. And then like, also, you can't.
We checked into a hotel in San Diego. I was like, so you got breakfast? He said, oh no breakfast. I'm like, so you're still playing the fucking COVID thing? You can't serve us a fucking Pop-Tart in the morning? No, we go outside. We go outside. The pool has a big giant chain on it. I'm like, what's up with the pool? He goes, oh, it's closed right now.
COVID.
Yeah, COVID. We
yeah.
Do something with it. I'm like, it's fucking 23. What are you doing? And it's just like, that's just how it is now. It just sucks.
It is amazing when you go to certain parts of the country and they're handling, obviously Florida, everybody jokes about how Florida, COVID never even existed in Florida in comparison. Mm-hmm. South Carolina, same thing here. Yeah. And, you know, and like Texas, like you guys like Florida. And, you know, I'm still amazed. Like, you know, I see people walking outside with fucking masks on. It's like, oh my God, you know, like, what are you fucking thinking? You know what I mean? I don't
see it often. When I do now, because I'll forget about COVID completely, and then I'll see someone with a mask, and I'll almost be like, "What's this guy on his face?" I'm like, "Oh, that's right." There's like, I forget. Like,
I don't care.
It's been 3 years, man.
I just if you're masking because you got symptoms, then fucking stay home. Don't come to the comedy show. You know what I mean? I was in New York a couple of days ago, and I saw, you know, people will be on the trains, but the train's kind of gross, so I can kind of understand that, you know. But if you're wearing that mask all day long, one of my restaurant servers has a mask on. I'm like, you're still wearing that every day? 4 years into this thing? I don't know, man.
Yeah. I love it, the people in the restaurant that wear it but don't cover their nose. It's like, what? Just take the fucking thing off. If you're not going to cover your nose, you know, you're breathing out of your fucking nose and you got your mouth covered.
I wonder what percentage of people who are still wearing the mask are legitimately doing it for health reasons, or if it's just the, hey, look at me, I'm one of the good guys kind of thing.
I don't think they're getting a whole lot of accolades by wearing it anymore. You know,
I don't know.
I think Matt's right. I think most people do it just because they're acting like they're, you know, they're better, or they're just concerned, or that, you know, they want to show like they're.
It's the same thing. Like if you act like a word offended you or something like that. Like, you're just trying to act like you're holier than thou now.
I saw that Jen Kirkman, she's a comic, she posted on her Instagram or something that she was at either JFK or LaGuardia, one of the New York airports. And she said, I'm the only one in this whole airport wearing a mask. And I was like, all right, first off, it's not close. There's no way you're in an airport in New York. This is 3 months ago. And again, that's somebody going like, look at me, I'm the only person. I'm like, please, are you kidding me? And also, if you are the only, you can probably take it off at this point. You know what I mean? If you're the only one wearing it, And then it's like, I fly every week. No matter what you think, there's still, you're going to see 100 people in the airport wearing a mask. Yeah, it's still, I mean, it's not all of us, but there's still a lot of people that haven't left their house that are wearing a mask. I promise you, if you walk around LaGuardia, you'll see 1,000 people wearing a mask. She's like, I'm the only one wearing it. Okay, all right. Well,
someone wants to wear a mask.
Okay, here's your trophy.
I don't care, wear it, but don't like pat you on the back for it. I don't give a shit.
You're right.
That's what I think now. It's like, if you're wearing a mask, I'm like, what's wrong with that guy? Should he be out?
Yeah, exactly.
You got a rash or something? What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. And, again, with the like somebody brought the vaccine again to me. I'm like, look, because I never got vaccinated. I've had COVID twice. So it's like, oh, you don't believe in vaccines? I'm like, dude, first of all, how can you defend this fucking thing when when you get it, you still get it, you still transfer it? What the fuck? I mean, you don't go to the hospital. Like 97% of the people who get COVID don't go to the hospital. So what's your fucking point? To me, it's a joke. Listen, I got the shingles vaccine. Why? Because it fucking works. So it's not I'm anti-vax. Yeah, it's just, and you're right. This righteousness of people has just been nuts across the country. People that, oh, you don't know, you're misinformation. It turns out much of the things you thought were fucking good were misinformation.
Right.
So it's like a lot of distrust in the government, especially with this fucking tanker explosion. The fuck what's happening in Palestine, Ohio, for God's sakes. I mean, what a fucking nightmare that was. So
a train. I don't read the news. What happened?
Train crash.
Jesus Christ. There was some chloride, some chemical spill in Palestine, Ohio, and they thought it'd be better to do a controlled explosion. And it fucking looked like a mushroom cloud went up, and it had this really bad chemical that when it combines with water turns into acid rain, and it turns into a carcinogenic type fucking chemical. And Peter Buttigieg never showed up, the transportation secretary. Biden goes to fucking Ukraine, doesn't go to there, so the people are pretty fucking pissed. And I think it was today, the local people, the EPA, and everybody started drinking out of tap water out of somebody's kitchen just to prove the water was good. It'd been funny if they all started fucking, started fucking dying. Liquid coming out of their ears and shit.
Poison chemical goes everywhere, and their solution was to burn it all. So they lit the whole thing on fire. Now you have airborne DLC like vinyl chloride.
Let's wrap up the show, fellas. Let's wrap up the show. Let's play Let's Associate. Here's where I'll give you guys a few terms, and you guys tell me not only a word or perhaps a story that you associate or feel comfortable with it. Let's start with the phrase bombing.
Facile.
Oh, God.
I'll go with Ukraine.
Okay.
They're dropping bombs over there, aren't they?
Yeah. Somebody please tell Fossil to stop posting some of these videos.
Never happened.
I'm always amazed at the choices some people make when they post videos. You know what I mean? It's like
confusing, isn't it?
It's like,
I'm like, you didn't have to post that.
Nobody's asking to see 45 seconds of silence and awkwardness. That's not fast. I just mean it.
No, exactly.
I think
you're like,
most of the girls are just trying to show off their crop tops.
To me, it's like if this is
my new outfit.
If this is the one you posted, what's the one you decided not to post? Right. It's always scary. Feedback.
Guitar.
Ooh, I'll go with. I just think the word positive. I don't know.
Positive feedback.
The first word that when I hear feedback. No, I don't. But
I
that's the first word that came to.
Give me any fucking feedback, man.
Well, it's funny, man. Somebody posted on Facebook. I read it today that it's like general. I think it was I'm trying to remember. He opens for John Christ. I'm coming up with his name out of Colorado, but he said it's like normal for us as comics. If somebody really sucks or doesn't do well, you don't really tell them. You don't want to bust their bubble and stuff, And because that's the thing too. Like I've had that said. One of my buddy here, Tom Emmons, local comic, is like somebody asks him, "Hey, what'd you think of my set?" He usually says, "I'm not good at that." I'm not good at giving fucking, and I think that's a great answer, man.
I like that.
Some of people are not good at comedy. Much like comedy, I'm not good at that. That's a good
yeah, because
on that, as far as feedback, like I don't have the energy to worry about someone else. Like if I see a comic that could use some advice, I just won't offer it. If they ask me, that's a different story. But I'm not offering like, hey, that joke's backwards.
And how often does it ever get received in a good way?
No,
it never does.
No. Yeah. I mean, listen, I've been, as a former athlete and the best advice I ever got was when somebody told me I didn't have a good set. You know, it's like, you got a lot to learn. You know what I mean? I was like, oh shit, because it grounded me to what I needed to do, right? But for the most part, you're right. People can't, just can't take that.
That's probably somebody that cared about you or cared about how well you did. I see someone doing bad on stage. I don't care.
Like, not unsolicited advice is like you're saying, Tim. If somebody asks you, I'll even say, do you want to hear the truth, or do you really want to know my opinion, or do you just want me to pat you on the back and put you on your way? Social media.
Gay.
Fucking hate it. Suck.
That's another
string suck hole.
I don't like social media. I don't like what it. I don't like what it's done to comedy. It's taken. I mean, I'll talk for half an hour about this. I know we're wrapping up, but it's awful because for the same reason, the reason people can't take advice and all that, it comes from the social media thing. Everybody wants to be a headliner immediately. They want to go from these guys are 2 years into comedy, and they get good with their videos, and the fucking videos are blowing up, and they're like, all right, I'm ready to hit the road. And headline, like, dude, you skipped the whole getting good at comedy thing. Like. And that's the thing too, is with the social media, it's not like, oh, I'll put these videos up there and I'll find my audience. You need to follow this strict algorithm and put up exactly what the little algorithm god wants, and it'll put it out there. And I'm like, well, I don't have a lot of fucking wokey or whatever the jokes are, but like, it's got to be, you can't have swearing. You have to do this. It's got to be clean. It's got to be shot this well. It's got to,
right.
You can't, God forbid you talk about a controversial topic, or if you say, I mean, honestly, not to make it a whole political thing, but if you go anything that's like anti whatever they're trying to push, you just get buried in the fucking algorithm. So I'm like, what is this? What are we doing?
The other thing it's like gatekeepers aren't bad. Like it's given everyone that's done comedy for 2 months the opportunity to share that with the world. And like, I don't know. I don't think we need it yet. You know what I mean? It used to be if you worked at it for a couple of years, maybe you could get on a decent stage and, 300 people could see you. And now it's like, if you just want to do comedy, you just do it in a fucking bar and then post it. And I don't know. It's not, to me, it's not good.
It's true what you said. It's true what you said, Matt. I was working with Quinn Dale recently, and he's obviously great at his TikToks, and he's gotten off TikToks. He said they've been shadow banning him a bit because of that material and some things. But he says you got to put your interracial joke. So I have a joke interracial dating. Facebook didn't let me push it a little bit because it's considered a dating site. Like, have you guys even watched the fucking video? And it's amazing because I changed the title of the same video to interracial couple. And now I was able to push it, and it's doubled already in views, right? And it's the same fucking video. So it's amazing. Next word is hack.
Oh, hack. I'll hack. I'll say social media. that's what comes to my
algorithm. Yeah. That's exactly what that's the problem with it. It's like the social media pushes the same shit you've always seen. And that's the thing with hack. It's like, that's why I like comedy. I want to hear someone's point of view. I want to hear someone's opinion. I don't want to hear the same old fucking shit.
Yeah.
It's funny how hack changes though throughout the years.
Hack's a weird term because I don't think I'm not a big like, oh, this is hack, that's hack. I feel like everything's been talked about. I mean, it's unless you're telling like a unique story that just happened to you. Like, let me tell this story about my wedding night, or like something. All right, that's unique. But like anything observational in any way, it's been said or done. It's just, you got to make it in your own original way and do it in your voice. And hack to me, like stealing is bad, but also this social media and this algorithm it's pushing hack. It wants you just to go up there, and some girl will be like, dating's tough, and then it pushes it. But like, hack, I don't know. Hack. I don't know.
I saw a guy do a joke. I sent it to you. It was a joke. I don't remember it, but it was a premise that's been fucking beaten to death. Oh, it was about trans athletes,
right?
But the guy had a funny punchline on it, and I was like, oh, that's how you do it to a hack subject. and make it good.
Right.
But I don't know. What's the hack now is I don't know what the fuck these kids are doing.
I don't know. It's crazy. I feel so disconnected with the new.
Oh, you know what the hack joke I hate now is abortion stuff. You know, where it's like fucking there's no delivery, or I had an abortion joke but it wasn't ready. I had an abortion joke, I had to throw it away. Well, I remember throw your whole act away. I remember Chris Mom had an abortion.
Chris Rowe used to do that abortion joke where he said,
yeah,
you know, he had the whole same thing, like, yeah, it wasn't ready yet, so I got rid of it or whatever. And then Mark Norman put that same joke on his special. I mean, we've all seen 30 billion comics do it, but Chris posted like, oh, another famous comic stealing my joke. I'm like, Chris, they're not stealing your joke, buddy. Like, it's no thing. That's all.
The only time I ever saw somebody steal that joke, actually did steal it, was at the Funky Buddha one time. This local guy who had been there, I know he's seen Chris get on stage before, and he was bombing, so he went to Chris's joke, and after the show, he walked off the fucking stage of the Funky Buddha. I go, dude, you just did Chris Topher's fucking joke, bro. He's like, oh, did I? I'm like, don't give me that bullshit. You fucking seen him do it 100 fucking times. I know you fucking lifted it. And you knew he stole it because he was bombing and he was just reaching to try to find something because to help his ego. And with that being, let's close out that with Joke Thief.
I'm going to name names? No.
I guess if we're doing word association, Mencia is the only thing that comes to mind immediately. But Amy Schumer's pretty fucking bad at it.
Schumer rips.
Yeah.
Rips the lives.
I mean, while you guys are thinking, I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to share this with you. A close friend of ours, all of ours, Cisco, right? Love the kid. He's a good dude. Congratulations to the guy for everything he's doing. But I did a joke at the. I did a joke. I did a joke at the Miami Improv.
I think you covered him on the last 4 fucking subjects.
Well,
train
in all fairness,
thief,
and there he is working this fuck. But I have a joke that says, "Listen, I went water skiing the other day. I was supposed to be parasailing. That was the joke. It's a quick, you know what I mean? And then literally after doing that joke, a month later, he comes up with his parasailing joke. Different joke. Nevertheless, I'm like, all right, I get it. So I did a show in Miami and he was sitting right there in the fucking front. And before the show, he's telling me, he's like, look, man, he goes, I need to come up with new material. I got to work on new shit. And there he was sitting there in the middle of this fucking set I was doing. So I called a local friend of ours that knows him very well. I won't mention his name, Will fucking Lopez. And he's like, I asked him, Will, I said, you're going to be working on this. Just do me a favor. I don't know if it's happening or not, but if he happens to tell a joke about this, or just let me know, because I'm just curious. You know what I mean? I kind of feel that vibe. And you guys know, as comics, when somebody does that shit. Yeah. And what does Will do? He goes to fucking Cisco and he tells him, Doug thinks you're stealing his jokes. So then Cisco unfriends me and all this shit. I'm like, oh my God. And then fucking, of course, Will denies saying it and all this shit. I'm like, look, dude. So I'm no longer friends with Will Lopez. But, it's like, that's why open mic. Sometimes you go out of town, you're in a club, and I'm going to go to the open mic. That's one of the things you worry about, because you're going to tell a joke, and half the comics in there go, oh, that's a new premise I'm going to start working on. You know what I mean?
Well, I think with stealing jokes is one of those things where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
If you're being accused of stealing jokes frequently, you're probably
stealing jokes.
People don't tell me I steal jokes because I don't do it. Okay, like if you're stealing, but if people are telling. Because it's funny because there's always like, we all know those guys where like a comic will walk in the room, like you said, like at a mic or a show, and everyone starts going, oh, fuck, here we go. Oh, boy, I'm not going to do this one now. If you're that person, you're probably stealing jokes. Like it's not.
Mencia, we were doing Addison Improv, and Mencia and Cisco came by, and they come in the green room. We're about to, show's about to start, and it's like, I couldn't have less respect for Carlos Mencia. And he comes into our green room. Well, like we were talking about doing spots and shit. Like, I've known Cisco for a long time, so it's like, you want to do a spot?
We gave him a spot.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
But I told these guys, I said, if Mencia wants to go up there's not a chance he's doing a spot on our show. No fucking way. I don't even want to be associated with the guy. And he was polite enough in the room, but I can't have less. Like, why are you even doing this if you steal jokes? I don't know, man. And then the other guy we were with is like, oh, he's going to steal our jokes. I'm like, Mencia's not doing any of my. It's like my stuff is safe for Mencia's set. Like he's not taking any of my.
Well, I remember Franco even said that. He's like, you guys are safe, but he's going to take my whole act.
Like, yeah, well, who would you take it from? You're just passing it on.
That's like Lenny Travis used to say, when you steal from me, you're stealing twice. I'll mention this about Tim, which is funny. I remember when they had that the comedy contest at the Miami, to open for fucking Carlos Mencia, and Tim says, "I want to enter that contest just so I can win, and I'll go up and do all his fucking material."
I probably would. I wouldn't have won. Had I won, I would 100% would have done that. 100%.
Yeah. You went up there and did Cosby shows.
Yeah, big Cosby fan. So you guys are probably going to recognize this next joke.
That's fucking great. Well, fellas, I want to thank you for being here on the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. I also want to wish you guys continued success on the Dope City Comedy Tour. If you happen to be in a town where you can see the Dope City Comedy Tour, be sure to check these guys out. Very funny and very original, very unique style of comedy that you can enjoy straight from the heart. Anything? What's coming up? You guys like to push or plug?
Yeah, we got a couple. Arizona, we're doing Tempe and Phoenix. Phoenix March 1st, Tempe March 2nd. We're doing Bricktown Comedy Club.
Oklahoma City,
March 23rd.
Bricktown, that's a good one. What's that?
March 23rd.
March 23rd. Always a fun show. Great club.
And we got a weekend down in June in Dallas and stuff. But we got some avails coming in. We should be announcing some stuff for April and May pretty soon. So just follow anything Dope City Comedy, Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz.
OKC, Dallas, Fort Worth.
Awesome. There you go. Catch these guys. Very good, very funny show. Be sure to check it out. As for me, I'm going to head to California this week. I'm going to be in the SLO Comedy Festival, and then I'm going to be in your old home. I'm going to be in your town in Bowling. Well, not there, but basically in Illinois, Bolingbrook at CG's Comedy Club. I'll be headlining that. I think it's the 18th, 19th, or so 11th. I can't remember the dates. Go to CG's for dates. Come out there because I'm a little concerned. I want to make sure. Is that a woke area? Is that a liberal area of Illinois?
Not really. I mean, unfortunately, Chicago itself is going to, but Bolingbrook is no. It's pretty much Middle America.
Good. Yeah. Oh, there you go. So I don't have to worry about my material.
Yeah.
So anyway, with that being said, guys, thanks so much for watching the show. Be sure to go to our YouTube page, subscribe, because that's where the shows are going to be shown all the time. Be a fan of our fan page. You can catch all the funny clips, and follow us on Twitter at Wake Up Dougie or Wake Up Doug. God bless you guys. Take care, and we'll see you next time right here at the same spot.